Mike is like a snake. He'll pop out on you. He get there too quick. But if you charge him, you're gonna smother everything, because everything he push off his legs. He push off his legs so he too close. Like this, but if you give him room, I mean, everybody get knocked out going backwards.
Jake Paul just dropped an absolute bombshell after losing from Mike Tyson in the fight, and honestly, why is he even surprised? Wasn't it painfully obvious from the beginning that challenging a man who has 44 knockouts against the best boxers in history was a horrible idea? What exactly did Jake think would happen? His 27-year-old bravado would somehow outmatch Tyson's decades of destruction. The guy probably assumed the old lion had lost its bite, only to realize the hard way, with a shattered rib and few broken teeth. And now Jake has the nerve, the sheer audacity, to throw wild accusations Tyson's way.
Where's the lawsuit? If you didn't get paid, where's the lawsuit? So it's a bunch of bullshit, but like I said before, they know what they're doing. Both brothers. Logan as well as Jake, they know what they're doing, so they're doing what they got to do. I claim that.
Mike Tyson, second round knockout. One of the most second round real knockout.
And these accusations are seriously laughable, so let me share them with you so we can both have a good laugh at the circus act he's putting on now. Because the moment the world had been waiting for finally happened just a few hours ago, and trust me, it did not disappoint.
Not just a fake knockout. After the first round, I don't think Jake probably gonna try to run, but he can't run from Mike. Mike is serious business. When he go in there for real. He's hungry too. Mike is hungry.
Mike Tyson, the name that has made generations of boxers shiver and call their moms for comfort, stepped into the ring once again. And waiting for him, none other than Jake Paul, the social media powerhouse who somehow convinced himself and a portion of the internet that he was ready for the kind of legend who eats rookies like him for breakfast. Tyson walked into that arena exuding a calmness that spoke volumes. No bravado, no flashy show, just the quiet confidence of a man who's been there, done that, and knocked out the t-shirt salesman on the way.
To train both of them. I started them out. I hooked them up with their first trainer. They're doing good, well, man. I'm very happy for them and their success, and they're doing good, man. Think about it. It was just some YouTube kids, and here they went. You fought the great Floyd Mayweather, and now Mike Tyson, the two biggest guys.
Meanwhile, Jake Paul strutted around like a human peacock, feathers metaphorically fluffed, convinced that his TikTok muscles were somehow going to topple one of the most feared men to ever lace up gloves. This guy had spent weeks trash-talking and mocking Tyson, even dressing up in a fat suit because apparently insulting your opponent's age is the pinnacle of sportsmanship now. But life has a funny way of slapping reality into people, and Jake was about to get slapped harder than his YouTube content ever could.
He told us round two.
From the very first punch, it became painfully clear. Tyson's age was nothing more than a number, and a meaningless one at that. This man didn't just have power. He had decades of honed skill, the kind of experience Jake could only dream of in his wildest influencer fantasies. As the fight began, the crowd went wild, and millions tuned in, popcorn ready, to witness the unraveling of Jake Paul's hype machine. All those antics, the ridiculous pranks, the overblown confidence, every bit of it crumbled faster than Jake's dignity as Tyson's fists began to find their mark. The so-called ultimate troll had turned into a human punching bag, and there was nothing funny about it anymore.
In the cruiserweight, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the white corner, wearing his traditional black, and officially weighing in at 220.4 pounds.
Let's talk about Jake's biggest miscalculation. He thought he was up against some kind of boxing museum relic, a guy whose best days were so far behind him they'd need a GPS to find them. But Tyson? Oh, he was playing a game Jake wasn't ready for. Absorbing those wild swings like he was taking a casual Sunday jog, Tyson barely even blinked.
His career of 56 fights, he has 50 victories, including 44 knockouts. He was the baddest man on the planet. KO punchers of all times, the two-time heavyweight world champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson! Tyson!
He waited, watched, and then, with the kind of precision that makes even seasoned fighters lose sleep, struck with that signature peekaboo style that has haunted dreams since the 80s. Jake's expression changed from smugness to a look of pure, I messed up realization. The punches that he'd been so proud of, Tyson shrugged them off like mosquito bites, while Jake's confidence deflated faster than his ego.
Iron Mike Tyson!
Jake threw everything he had, desperately trying to make an early impact. But Tyson, he wasn't fazed. He knew the game Jake was playing and he wasn't impressed. It was painfully clear to anyone watching. Tyson wasn't out of breath, wasn't breaking a sweat. He was just letting Jake exhaust himself, and honestly, it was like watching a lion toy with an overconfident cub. The crowd could see it too. Tyson wasn't losing ground or looking for an escape. He was biding his time, waiting for Jake to tire out while his own stamina remained solid, like he was ready to go all night.
And we've had an accidental headbutt. I heard
Jake Paul seems pretty relaxed. Okay, because I'm like, you can't run it.
I don't want any more of this.
This wasn't just some casual boxing match for Tyson. It was a calculated takedown, a brutal chess game played with fists instead of pawns. And when Jake's energy finally started to dip, Tyson saw his opening. The arena held its breath, and then it happened. The first devastating body shot. Tyson didn't just throw a punch. He delivered a rib-cracking, bone-shaking hit aimed with surgical precision. The impact was almost audible, and the expression on Jake's face said it all. November 15th, 2024 wasn't going to be remembered as another day in the life of Jake Paul. It was the day he felt the full force of a man who has built a career on crushing opponents, both physically and mentally. Jake's gasp, a raw, uncontrollable exhale of sheer pain, was the moment everyone knew this was no YouTube prank. This was real, and it was brutal. But Tyson wasn't done. Experience doesn't just mean knowing how to throw a punch, it means knowing exactly where to land it. While Jake staggered around trying to recover from that body shot, Tyson's next strike was already lined up. His fist connected with Jake's head with terrifying precision, sending the YouTube star crashing to the canvas. In that instant, every ounce of Jake Paul's bravado and cockiness disintegrated. The dude who thought he could meme his way into boxing immortality was now lying on the mat, dazed, his ego shattered beyond repair. That fat suit he'd worn to mock Tyson? Yeah, not so funny anymore when you're getting laid out by the very man you disrespected. The crowd went wild, but not in the way you cheer for an underdog. It was a different kind of energy, the kind that comes from watching someone finally get what they had coming. The arena erupted, a mix of cheers and gasps as Jake lay there, a broken, humbled shell of the overconfident guy who strutted in thinking he was untouchable. People had paid good money expecting some influencer-fueled drama, maybe a flashy upset. But what they got instead was a lesson in humility delivered by the heavyweight king himself. Tyson proved that even an old lion's claws are sharper than any young cub's bravado. Jake's entire persona, built on the idea that he was indestructible, fell apart that night. The social media star who thought his fame would shield him from reality was suddenly face-to-face with a very different kind of audience. Gone were the fans cheering for his wild antics and viral content. Now he was surrounded by people who watched as he lay vulnerable, stripped of all pretense. Just another defeated man who had bitten off more than he could chew. The once cocky YouTube king was now a cautionary tale, a living example of how hype can't save you from the hard truth of facing a real fighter.
And I want you got to take him serious, Mike, because he's...
I take him extremely serious. I take him extremely serious. These people don't take him serious.
No, they don't, and it's such a mistake because he's a real killer, Mike. Like, he wanted to be a Navy SEAL before he started boxing. Like in high school, he wants to be a Navy SEAL. He wanted to go kill people on behalf of his country.
The carefully constructed facade that Jake Paul had nurtured for years didn't just crack, it was obliterated. Tyson's world isn't about showmanship or social media antics. It's about discipline, raw strength, and a spirit that doesn't break with age. Jake Paul's defeat wasn't just a loss, it was a global event, a stark reminder that true greatness doesn't fade. It just waits for the perfect moment to remind everyone exactly why it's untouchable. Mike Tyson's knockout of Jake Paul on November 15th, 2024 was a brutal, soul-crushing reminder of why Tyson's legacy is cemented as one of the most fearsome in boxing. This wasn't the type of technical knockout Jake was used to. In his career so far, when Jake's opponents have been overwhelmed, the referee usually steps in, calls the fight fight off and saves them from further damage. But this time, there was no saving grace, no convenient bell ringing to spare him. No, this was a Tyson-style KO, a full-throttle obliteration that left Jake completely unable to stand, with a power and finality that only a few in history have experienced. What's even more telling is how this fight will be remembered. It's not just a victory for Tyson, but a cultural moment, one that showed the younger generation of fighters and fans that the roots of boxing still hold immense, often terrifying power.